This is Valley News Live at 5.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Stacy Van Dyke, and it's day 2 of tricky travel in the valley as we've just been pounded by snow. But tonight comes a new problem. Meteorologist Nathan Hopper joins us straight away to break it all down. Nathan?
Yeah, thanks, Stacy. After some impressive snowfall totals the past couple days, we've seen more snow today, especially the heaviest snow in our northern Minnesota counties. Good news is in Fargo, the active snowfall is done. Our Luther Family Ford Skycam Live shows traffic is moving, but notice those roads still ice covered and snow covered there across the metro. And this is especially true for our friends across Minnesota, where they are some of the bigger winners of snowfall here. This is snowfall so far today. We've gotten a few new reports in the past 30 minutes or so. But some of the big winners so far: Wadena, Shevlin, Petoskey, Minnesota, both in the 7 to 8 inch range there. Leonard, Minnesota, 6.5 inches. Black Duck, Minnesota, 6 inches right there with Mahnomen. And then the Warren, Perham, and Park Rapids areas around 5 inches of snowfall so far. Still snowing in quite a few of these spots, so I do expect that snowfall to continue to be on the rise. So cold air making its way in. And you can see things look quiet on the radar, but this kind of area in northern Minnesota is between two of the Doppler radars, the radar in Duluth and the radar in Mayville. So may not be picking up those shallow snow clouds that could be dropping some impressive snowfall totals there across northern Minnesota at this hour. Cold air making its way in, 15 below the air temperature right now. Devils Lake 13 below Jamestown. That black line you see there is the 0 degree line. I expect that 0 degree line to keep pushing eastward as that cold air blasts into the region. Wind chills already 35 below in Langdon, 35 below Devils Lake, 30 below in Langdon, 29 below Jamestown, 31 below in Oaks. Fargo, no picnic either, 24 below that wind chill at this hour. We've got a whole host of a whole buffet of weather headlines to talk about. A wind chill warning for all of our North Dakota counties. That's until noon Wednesday, 40 to 50 degrees below zero. Can't be ruled out in the wind chill department as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Still seeing a wind chill advisory in Lake of the Woods and Roseau counties, and a wind chill advisory for those blue counties there. Lakes Country points off toward the south. Winter storm warning continues till midnight tonight for our northern Minnesota counties, which is where we do expect most of that more robust snowfall to continue for this Tuesday evening. In Fargo, look at how things drop right off the table, down to near 20 below by 3 a.m. The wind only around 10 miles per hour, but even a 10-mile-per-hour wind at 20 degrees below zero is going to be dangerous. In Grand Forks, Stacy, same thing, down near 20 below as we get toward the darkest part of the overnight hours tonight. But of course, we're also watching a low temperature record that could be in jeopardy here tonight. And so we'll talk about all of that. Lots to talk about coming up here in a few minutes.
That's a record you don't want to break.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nathan.
Yeah.
And make sure you have that Valley News Live Storm Team weather app so you can keep up with the weather anytime, anywhere. You'll get the latest forecast and conditions so you can plan your day. Just search VNL Weather in the App Store and download it for free. We have breaking news for you now. Just into our newsroom, traffic crawling along in 3 westbound lanes of I-94 following a crash. There were several fire trucks and highway patrol units. No word on how many vehicles are involved, but at least one car was heavily damaged. Valley News Live does have a crew on the scene there. Stay with us throughout the evening for updates. Check out this video. It's video you'll only see here on Valley News Live. A wild ride on a snowmobile ended up with some major damage to a home in Pelican Rapids. The snowmobiler realized the sled was going to crash and jumped off to try and avoid it. He didn't have a tether, so the snowmobile kept going, speeding through a garage door. Valley News Team's JC Dodd spoke to the homeowner. You can see that exclusive story tonight on Valley News Live at 6. A man was rushed to the hospital this morning after the delivery van he was driving was hit by a train. Officials say it happened at the intersection of 54th Avenue North and North Washington Street. The crash report says the delivery van was driven by a 42-year-old Thief River Falls man, and he was not wearing his seatbelt. No train crew members were injured. New for you tonight at 5, we now know the name of the person killed in a house fire in Becker County last week. The sheriff's office has identified him as 47-year-old Wesley Stahlberger. The fire broke out at a home on Hubble Pond Road near Frazee, Minnesota. When first responders arrived, the structure already collapsed. Still no word on what caused the fire. A Mahnomen man is now charged with taking part in riots in downtown Fargo last year. Unsealed court documents show 25-year-old Patrick Porter was seen throwing chunks of concrete at police officers and was captured on video spray painting an anti-police slogan on the outside of a building. They also say Porter and others threw rocks and chairs from the roof of the Hotel Donaldson onto law enforcement officers below. Porter faces felony conspiracy to commit criminal mischief and other charges. If convicted, he faces up to 10 years in prison. A North Dakota man who killed 4 people at a Mandan business will be spending the rest of his life in prison. Chad Isaak was sentenced today to multiple life prison terms without the possibility of parole. He's convicted of planning the murders of 4 RJR maintenance employees back in 2019, but the motive still remains unclear. The defense says police overlooked or ignored all other suspects, but prosecutors say all the evidence all pointed to Isaak.
The evidence is clear in this case that Mr. Isaak took the lives of 4 innocent people with a senseless act of extreme and brutal violence in this case.
One of his lawyers asked the judge to allow for the possibility of parole, but the prosecutor argued that he's a danger to the community, and ultimately the judge agreed. 2 men are in jail after a drug investigation uncovered nearly 10 pounds of meth at a West Fargo motel. Yesterday, investigators got a tip that a drug courier was at the Rodeway Inn with a large amount of drugs. The men from Los Angeles were found in a room with 9.5 pounds of meth. They were arrested for possible charges of conspiracy to possess with intent to distribute a controlled substance. The CDC's latest decision to shorten the recommended COVID-19 isolation period from 10 days to 5 has many in the Valley scratching their heads, wondering what this means for both themselves and their families. Valley News Team's Bailey Hurley took many of your questions to the experts today in an effort to clear things up, and she has our story.
Essentia Health's Dr. Richard Vetter says Monday's decision to cut the recommended isolation time in half comes as a direct response to the newest Omicron variant, which has quickly become the lead variant of the coronavirus in the U.S.
It transmits a lot easier, a lot quicker. And so that time from exposure to developing symptoms has actually shortened.
And while some people are excited for a shorter amount of time in isolation, Dr. Vetter says not so fast, saying if you're showing symptoms, the new guidelines go out the window.
As long as you're symptomatic, you should be isolating or quarantining.
He says if you're asymptomatic, the new guidelines state you should spend 5 days in quarantine before you head back out into the world, with another 5 days recommended you mask up.
I think if there's one thing that the COVID pandemic has taught us is that things will continue to change, and we'll have to modify our recommendations and our lifestyles to accommodate those changes.
Vetter says while so far Omicron seems to be easier for people to deal with, he hopes you don't let your guard down, as an influx of cases can still cause issues down the line. Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
Vetter says the continued rise of vaccination status also allowed the isolation window to narrow, as the virus is less transmissible in those who are fully vaccinated. So far, the North Dakota Department of Health says around 56% of the state is fully vaccinated, compared to Minnesota's 62%. The community rallied together today in an effort to raise money for the family of 7 found dead in their Moorhead home last week from carbon monoxide poisoning. All of today's haircut proceeds collected at Moeller Barber College in Fargo, as well as tamale sales from La Unica Mexican Market, have been promised to the Hernandez Pinto family in hopes to lay all 7 members to rest in their home country of Honduras.
I want to do everything I can, because I can just about imagine how it would feel like, you know, they want to be back where most of their family is and everything. So I think it's important that we all get together as a community and just support that.
Both store owners say they will continue to collect money for the family throughout the rest of this week. The woman selling the tamales tells us that the family's funeral is tentatively scheduled for January 6th. West Fargo Fire and Police departments are duking it out to see who can get the most blood donations. The Battle of the Badges blood drive competition is underway, and donors get to pick which department they'd like to make their blood donation go toward. For the last 2 years, the police department took home the trophy. The blood drive will go on until Thursday. If you'd like to donate, you can find more information at our website, valleynewslive.com, and click on this story. The minimum wage for Minnesota is going up in just a few days. Large employers must pay at least $10.33 an hour. Smaller businesses must pay at least $8.42. This amount must also be paid to employees younger than the age of 20 for the first 90 days of training, and the youth wage rate for those under 18 will also be $8.42. All these changes go into effect on Saturday. Later here on Valley News Live at 5, we'll take a look at preparations for one of the biggest New Year's Eve celebrations in the country.
And wind chills upstream from us. We can see 42 below Regina, 40 below Saskatoon. Those blacks are near 50 degrees, and we could see some negative 50-degree wind chills by the time everything is said and done by tomorrow morning. And also, our low temperature for tomorrow morning also is in jeopardy. We'll talk about a active weather pattern ahead next.